Alright, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Casey, and today I'm doing kind of an interesting video. I've never done this before, but I wanted to do like a health and wellness check-in for your mind, body, and spirit. So, of course, at the very beginning, I want to say I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to diagnose. No reputable tarot reader would ever diagnose any sort of ailment. Even if I was a doctor, I'm not your doctor. So basically what I want to say is if something does happen to come up in the reading that I do see like might be concerning, I would just encourage you to go to an actual doctor to get it checked out. And if just because I see something in a reading doesn't mean it's meant for everybody that's drawn to that reading. Obviously use your own discernment, and of course I'm never going to diagnose anything, but I just wanted to get that disclaimer out of the way because I don't want people coming in here expecting like a horrible message of like, oh my god, there's a tumor in my brain. No, girl, I would never ever say anything like that. I am not qualified to say something like that. What this reading is meant to be about is, check in on your mental health. Maybe it shows that you've been having like brain fog, maybe you're just feeling really down. So in what ways can you clean that up? In what ways can you help yourself through that or help yourself heal through that? For your body, maybe you've just been feeling really tired. I might see that in the reading and I could give you some ideas of ways to fix that. Or maybe it comes up that your body has like a vitamin D deficiency, so then I'll be like, okay, go outside, get some sunshine, maybe think about taking some supplements or drink more orange juice if you need vitamin C. Obviously I wouldn't recommend taking medication or supplements, but it's those kinds of ideas. What can you do to help your body, your mind, and your spirit through whatever I see coming up in the cards, whatever it is that you might be suffering from? So that is what we're going to be looking at. Just want to say it off the bat, do not take medical advice from this video. I am not qualified to give medical advice. Always seek help from a qualified professional. If I see anything in this reading and I say, hey, maybe you should go get a checkup, go do that before jumping to any conclusions, and I certainly will not be jumping to any conclusions here. So that is what I have to say, disclaimer real fast. Starting off, I have 3 different piles for you to choose from today. We have pile 1 with the stop card, pile 2 with the happiness card, and pile 3 with the space card. So go ahead and pause, figure out which reading you feel most drawn to. I'll leave timestamps down in the description box below so you can quickly jump to whichever reading that you want to listen to. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, pile 1. If you chose, I believe it was the stop card, then this is going to be the reading for you. Now, I really hope that you listen to this disclaimer at the very beginning. I know it was a bit lengthy, but I do need you to know I'm not here to diagnose anything. I'm not going to go over the whole thing, so let's go ahead and get into it. So, what we're here to look at today is, so what do you need to hear about the health and wellness of your mind? So, how's your mental health doing? What does your mind want from you right now to heal or just better itself? What does it want you to start doing? Then we're also looking at your body. What are your body's needs right now? What is your body hoping to do more of or hoping to have more of? And then finally, what is the health and wellness of your spirit like right now? So what is your spirit hoping for? Everything that I see here in your cards is actually really good. The only thing that might seem a little bit off is your spirit, but it's nothing serious there, and I'll get to that in due time. But let's start off with your mind. How is your mental health doing right now? I think what I see here right now is I don't see anything very drastic, so I'm hesitant to say like, oh, you're depressed or like anything like that. Of course, I'm not diagnosing, but I don't see anything very bad going on mentally right now. I do see a desire from your mind for maybe more comfort from a loved one. Specifically, if you're in a romantic relationship, it might be a good time for you to not necessarily lean on them, but just get closer to them, allow them to give you more comfort. Like, for instance, I'm not saying that all of you are in romantic relationships, but let's say that you are. Maybe you've been a little bit more distant from your partner than you might have realized. Like maybe you guys haven't had time to fully like come back and just connect and just be present with one another. What I see your mind is craving right now is just comfort. So that's what I mean. Like just maybe take some time, like say, you know what, this Friday, let's go out on a date, or this Friday, let's stay in and just like cuddle and put on a movie and like really connect to one another. For others, if you're not in a romantic relationship, I see that like mentally, maybe what you need is comfort like from friends, Or if you're not very close to a lot of people right now that you could call friends, maybe family. What I see is your mind is just really missing like that kind of comfort that you get from somebody that you have a very wholesome connection with, especially with the Lovers card. I just realized I probably should have covered that up because it's nudity. YouTube doesn't like that. But it's just this kind of idea that you might want to get closer to those around you. Maybe without realizing it, you might feel more distant from people. Like maybe you didn't realize that you've been getting so busy and you just haven't had a lot of time to connect to those that you truly deeply care about. So just kind of allotting time to get closer to them, reconnect, and just it lifts our vibes and just makes us feel better when we're able to relax in the presence of those that we care about and feel safe with. And that's something that I see your mind is kind of yearning for right now. Like I said, I don't see anything super serious here. It's not like you're in crisis mode and you need to suddenly like start journaling and doing shadow work. The biggest thing that I see for your mental health is like your mind just wants you to like reconnect back to those that maybe you've been a little too busy to see, or maybe you haven't had the time to sit down and just connect one-on-one with somebody special to you. So now moving on to your body. What I get here is your body wants to have a release of energy. And what I mean by that is if there is something that you've been really wanting to do, especially something physical like a certain exercise, maybe you've really been desiring to go to the beach and without realizing it, it's like your body wants to go for a swim, your body wants to be in the ocean, your body wants to ground. Or maybe you've been thinking about playing volleyball the past few weeks, but you haven't taken any time to go out and do it. So whatever's been on your mind, or you've been kind of thinking like, man, it would be nice to ride my bike today, it's like your body wants to do that. With the energy card and the Three of Wands, this is all about moving forward towards something that allows you to expend energy in a positive way. I feel drawn to say something that's not very PG, so if you're under 18, this message isn't for you. But if there's a way that you've been wanting to get out your sexual energy, that is something that might be encouraged. It's basically whatever's been on your mind, a way to release energy in a positive way. Like I said, like riding a bike or hiking, whatever you've been desiring to do but haven't really been able to do it, your body is like holding that energy inside and it just wants to get it out. Your body wants to move in the way that it wants to move. So let it, you know? Like I said, I think that this general message here for you is your mind and your body want to do certain things, but maybe you've been a little bit too busy with work or other responsibilities. You haven't been able to connect back to the people that you want to connect to, and maybe you haven't been able to like do the kinds of exercises or hobbies that you enjoy doing. So whatever has been at the back of your mind that you feel like you just keep pushing it off until a later date, it might be time to just say, okay, I'm going to prioritize this right now because it's obviously something that my mind and my body is craving. Now finally, moving on to your spiritual health and wellness. This is the only one that I saw was kind of off because you have the Nine of Cups reversed, but it's not a super bad thing. What I see is your soul is hoping to expand and achieve certain manifestations. So, for example, maybe you have certain personal goals that you've really been wanting to achieve, but like I said before, maybe you've been so distracted with work and things that you haven't really been able to set your mind to those goals. Like, maybe there's, like the analogy that's coming to mind right now is like, okay, I play this video game. It's called Destiny 2. Maybe you've heard of it. There's this thing in game called like your guardian ranks, or it's like ranks that you can do to level up your character, and it just shows that you've like accomplished certain things. It's basically like a frivolous accomplishment, doesn't really matter in the long run, but it's something nice to have. I get so busy playing like other activities, I don't really focus on this like little task that could boost me up, and it's something that I've been kind of wanting to do, but really I just haven't taken the time to fully do it. It could be that kind of situation for you. I hope that analogy makes sense, but it's like there's something that you've been putting off, some sort of goal you've been working towards. Like, okay, a real life example that just came to mind is maybe you've always wanted to say that you've run a 5K before, or maybe you've always wanted to say like I did the Ironman marathon or triathlon. I'm not sure what that is because I don't do it. Maybe you've just been putting it off, but it's something that your soul wants you to do. There's some sort of spiritual growth that wants to be achieved through manifesting certain desires or achieving certain goals, but it's been put off, and so it's like your soul isn't getting that expansion it wants. It's not achieving those things that it wants or learning the lesson that it wants to learn. So I feel like overall message of your reading is you've just been kind of like putting things on the back burner that your mind, body, and soul want to achieve right now. So it could just be that your focus is in the wrong direction, or not necessarily in the wrong direction, it's just not balanced across all the things that you want to do. Maybe you've been a little too focused on like your day-to-day responsibilities and you just haven't had time to connect back to those you love and to your own body. So ask your body what it wants. This is a general reading, so like I was trying to give analogies, but it's going to be different for everyone. What you really need to do is just sit back and ask your body and ask your mind and spirit, what do I want to do today? Not what I have to do or what my responsibilities dictate that I do, but what has my body been asking me for? What has my mind been wanting to do? And then once you realize those things, let yourself do them, and you'll start to feel yourself have more energy, you'll start to level up a little bit, and overall it's like your vibe is just going to be raised and your life will feel a lot more balanced and you'll feel a lot more content. Trust me, because I don't think there's anything that could go wrong from just connecting back to friends and loved ones and letting yourself go for a swim or exercise in the way that your body wants to exercise. So, pile one, that's everything that I see for you. Obviously, there's nothing crazy here. It's just like basically like housekeeping. Maybe you haven't cleaned the bathroom in a while and you just need to get in there and clean it up a little bit, and then you'll realize like, oh, that's where the smell was coming from in the house. Does that make sense? It's like you as a whole just has a few areas of your life that need to be tended to. And it's like if you don't, then the whole body kind of starts to like break down or feel a little off now and again, but there's nothing crazy going on here. So if you were really worried about me being like, hey, maybe you should go to the doctor, I'm not seeing that here. So if this resonated with you, that's everything that I have for you. So pile one, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. All right, pile two, if you chose, I think it was the happiness card, then this is going to be the reading for you. Now, pile one's was a lot lighter. Yours, we're gonna get into it here. But like I said in the beginning, I hope that you listened to the disclaimer. I'm not here to diagnose anything. Take everything that I say with a grain of salt because I'm not a medical professional. That being said, I don't see anything crazy going on health, like physical health wise, so I'm not even gonna be touching that kind of like sphere, so don't be worried about that. What I do see here, starting off with the health and wellness of your mind, I feel like you cover up a lot of the bad things that go on in your mind. You suppress a lot of bad feelings, you suppress a lot of bad thoughts, you suppress a lot of traumas is what is coming to me. So if there were things that make you feel anxious or make you feel embarrassed or make you feel guilty or make you feel enraged, you cover those up and you focus on the good in your life, or you focus on positive. And it's great to think positive, but in order to be a fully healed and whole person, you have to address the negative sides as well. You can't just cover it up and replace it with a facade, because it's like painting a house that like the foundation is breaking down. And that's what I see for you, is like your foundation hasn't been tended to in quite a while. And so like the mental health, I feel like you're trying to get through the day focusing on the positive, you're just covering up the bad, and it's like when bad things come up, you just kind of like shove dirt over it, and you're like, no, look at the bright side. And it's like you're looking at this one pocket of life that's like sunny, beautiful, rainbow, and it's like everything else is on fire. And the fire is just going to continue to consume if you don't actually look at the fire and say, this is reality. I'm not shoving this down anymore. This has to be taken care of. I can't just focus on the bright side anymore. I actually have to fix the foundation, or else the whole thing is going to come crumbling down. And with the success card, it's like you've almost tricked yourself into believing that you can continue on like this. You've almost tricked yourself into believing that like as long as you keep running, these things aren't going to catch up to you. But they're within you. It's not something that you can run away from because it is literally inside of you. You've been telling yourself that you're successful, you're happy, everything is fine, but underneath it's like, maybe this is what society would consider success, but it doesn't really, on a deep level, feel like success to you. Like, this is one example. It might not be you. It's just an analogy. But let's say that you have the house, you have the family, you have the car, and on the outside it seems like you live this perfect life and everybody around you is so jealous because they're like, wow, you're really living like the American dream or whatever. But on the inside it's like, but I don't really care about this. I'm not saying you don't care about your family, but it's like, this isn't the kind of life that I really want to live. This isn't what I'm passionate about. This isn't what I desire. This is just what society told me that I should have. And so it's like you're smiling in all the pictures, and it's like you seem like this picture perfect idea of success, but on the inside it's like, well, I could care less because all I really wanted was like to be a nomad and like live on the back of a horse or live in a van and like take my belongings with me and not be tied down by a mortgage and a 9-to-5 and all that. You know, that's what I'm seeing here. And it's like you're just trying to push on and continue through life and run away from these feelings as if they're going to go away, but they're not going to because they come from within you. And the further that you go through this, the worse it's going to get, because it's like I said, it's like if you painted a house to make it look pretty, but the foundation is crumbling, the house is still going to come down eventually. You can try to make it look all fancy, but that's not actually fixing the root issue. So the first thing that I would recommend for your mental health is, I mean, it's tough. This is going to be a long road. There's no cure-all for what you're going through, but the first thing that you can start doing is stop lying to yourself. Stop covering up your true desires. Stop covering up the things that need to be looked at. Stop looking away from the fire and the flaming building and being like, okay, everything's fine. Yeah, as long as I don't look at the fire, it's not there. I think that when you are awake at night, there are thoughts that keep you up. There are anxious thoughts and depressing thoughts that keep you up. And it's like, it's the only time that they're able to sneak through your facade, because that's the moment when you are truly alone and there's nothing to distract you. There's nothing to pull your focus away. Instead of trying to run from those thoughts and cover them up, look them straight in the eye and figure out, okay, these thoughts aren't going anywhere. These feelings aren't going anywhere. What can I do to work through them? What can I do to accept them? What can I do to heal them? Because the way that you've been living life isn't working. The way that you've been going through life, something's gonna break if you don't actually look these problems in the eye and address them. You can't keep running forever. But that's just what I'm seeing for your mind, for your mental health. I also think that your spirit is going through a very similar thing. So instead of jumping over to body, I guess I'll get to that last and we can talk about your spirit. Since you're mentally, it's like you're just looking at this success card. You're not looking at everything else that's going on. You're focusing in so hard at the positives and like pretending like everything is fine. You don't see that like under the hood, everything's breaking down. And specifically with your spirit, you can't cover up the spirit. The spirit is actually going to be hurting no matter what. It's like when people take painkillers to cover up pain. You don't feel the pain, but the pain is still there. The broken bone is still under there. You're just convincing yourself that, okay, as long as I don't feel it, it's not there. But your spirit is going through all this pain all the time. Even when you are distracted, even when you're not paying attention to it, your spirit is in pain. And with the Nine of Swords reversed, this is the card that made me say, like, when you're awake at night, that's when these haunting thoughts start coming back up. And so if you truly want to be better, if you truly want to heal your mind and your soul, you have to start by facing these fears head on. You have to start by facing this anxiety and the truth of this depression head on. And you shouldn't go it alone. This is going to be a very difficult process, but the first step is acknowledging. I feel like they even say that in like Alcoholics Anonymous, like the first step is just acknowledge that you have a problem. Acknowledge that there's a problem here. Acknowledge that there's a fire. Acknowledge that the house is about to crumble. And then I would recommend that you seek help from a professional. So a therapist, I think psychiatrists are the ones that diagnose, but if you could just go to like counseling of some kind, maybe this isn't something that you can open up to family and friends about, because I mean, if you've been trying to cover it up, maybe it's because your ego is like trying to protect you from embarrassment or something like that. Maybe it's not something that you want people around you to know about. Maybe you don't even want people to know that you've reached out to a therapist. But if you can find a way to do it for yourself, Trust me, even though it seems like you've got this good facade going where you can pretend like everything's fine, those that are close to you can see if you're struggling or not. You might be able to pretend like everything's fine, pretend like you love this life, and pretend like you're okay continuing on, but those that are close to you are gonna see the cracks in your smile. They're gonna see the truth of what's going on. They can see that you're hurting, but maybe they're too scared to reach out, or maybe they tried reaching out but you shut them down, and so they think that there's no way to help you. The best way that you can get through this is by leaning on somebody else. And if you can't lean on family and friends, try to find a counselor, try to find a therapist. Maybe you might be one of those kinds of people that's like, no, I would never see a therapist, because maybe you have your own reservations about it. Maybe you have heard other people's bad experiences about it. And believe me, it can be very hard finding the right therapist. I mean, I have tried many times and still haven't found one that I really connect to. But as long as you keep going, as long as you keep trying, you will find the right one. And even if it's not the right one, just finding a professional that can help you work through at least some of the problems you're going through will be a step in the right direction. And I think that if you found this video, it's because you need it. It's because you're coming to a breaking point and you can't continue on the way that you've been going. Because your soul is in pain. Like, you got the pain card. Like, you have the 9 of Swords here, which is like a lot of like mental anguish, especially like in your spirit area. That's not good. That's when it starts to invade our mind and our body, because when things are infecting our spirit, it's not something that can just be covered up. It's something that is going to continue to stay in pain until it is actually healed. And the first step to healing it is acknowledging that there is a problem there. Acknowledging that you do need help. Acknowledging that there are parts of you that are unhealed, that need to be looked at, that need to be worked through and accepted. So I highly, highly encourage you to do some work yourself, to just sit down alone with yourself, without any sounds, without any distractions, and really ask yourself how you're doing. Ask yourself what's hurting. And I don't just mean in your body, I mean in your mind. And why I wanted to get to body last is because you have the Stop card here and the Knight of Cups reversed. And this makes me think that you could be dealing with some sort of substance abuse. This could be alcohol, this could be nicotine, it could be weed. I know a lot of people think that like marijuana can't be abused. Just because you can't be addicted to the substance doesn't mean that you can't be dependent on it. Not saying that you are doing any of these. Maybe you don't even realize you have a problem. You know, maybe you're an adult and you're like, well, everybody has like a drink when they get off work. Everybody has it, goes crazy on the weekends. There's a difference between like having fun and enjoying a substance versus using it to cover up feelings, using it to be a different person than you are when you're sober. What you do when you take these substances is you're distancing yourself from your true self. And I'm not here to be like all high and mighty and say that I don't use, alcohol every once in a while. I enjoy a good drink, but there's a difference between picking up a drink to like have fun, like you're at a party, versus picking one up because you hate the way that you're feeling and you want it to go away and you want to feel more positive, or you want to numb the feelings. And the reason I say drinking specifically is because the Knight of Cups he's holding a cup. It's literally a guy holding a cup. So that's what leads me to believe that it could be alcohol that is the substance that you might be using. If you're not using any kind of substances like that, it could be that it's just a sign that there's too much distraction going on, not enough facing of reality. There's a lot of covering up of emotions. There's a lot of distancing yourself from, your true thoughts and your true emotions. Because the truth is, there's a lot of different ways to distract yourself that don't necessarily need to be like alcohol or weed or nicotine, like I said. It could be something like video games. Maybe like as soon as you get off work, or as soon as you're like alone with your thoughts, you go straight into playing this game, straight into distracting yourself. Maybe it's like talking to other people. You're constantly surrounding yourself with people so that you don't need to face your own thoughts. Maybe it's like you're getting too much sleep. You're like falling asleep because you'd rather be unconscious than awake and having to deal with your thoughts. But whatever it is, your body is like just straight up, you have the stop sign here. Like it's a straight up, you need to stop, because whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you're forcing on your body so that you don't need to think about these problems, it's starting to make your body hurt. Your body is telling you that it needs you to stop because it's hurting. Your body is telling you that whatever you're putting in it or whatever you're forcing it to be distracted from, it's starting to like physically hurt you. Like think of, maybe you feel like you've had really bad brain fog. Maybe you have like physical like aches in your joints. Maybe you have like weakness, like muscle weakness. Like if you're forcing yourself to sleep more than you should, maybe you'd start to feel like your muscles like atrophying, or you know what I'm saying? Like just a lot of weakness, or you know when you sleep like way too much and you feel really sluggish and you have that brain fog? It could be like that. Like you're starting to go through life as a zombie and your body is like trying to tell you like, hey, wake up. I don't want to be feeling all this. You're putting all these things in me or forcing me to feel this way. And it all stems back to you're going through some sort of mental anguish. There's some part of your life that you're very unhappy about, or there's some unresolved pain, unresolved anguish, maybe grief that hasn't been fully healed from. And whatever it is, it's time to look it in the eye and work through it, because you're starting to suffer on all levels. And even like the last frontier, or like the last stand, is your brain, your mind, and you're just holding on to this thread of like, okay, as long as I'm thinking positive, as long as I'm distracting myself, I'm fine. But even that isn't helping anymore, because what used to be positive, it's like, it seems positive on the outside, it's a mask to put up so that people don't ask what's wrong, but it doesn't feel good to you. It's a false sense of positivity, and like the rest of you is suffering. So I highly encourage you to seek help where you can. I know it's not easy. I know that it's a lot easier to just be lazy and choose not to do anything. I mean, it's human. We like to conserve our energy. We don't like to be embarrassed. We don't like to have to be vulnerable and say that I need help. But if you want to be better, if you want to stop feeling the way that you're feeling, substance abuse or mentally clocking out all the time isn't cutting it anymore. These distractions are going to start to fail you, and you're going to start to notice that what used to help isn't helping anymore. What used to help, now you need it 10 times as much, and it's still barely helping. It's time to really look at the root cause of the problem and try to fix it, because you can't continue on this way. Your mind, your body, and your soul are all screaming at you for help. And I don't say this to like make you feel guilty and be like, look at everything that you're doing bad. I understand. You're human. I'm not mad at you for doing this. Everything that you're doing to protect yourself. You have these alarm bells going off and you're trying to do everything that you know to do to shut it off. But that's not the true way to fix it. It's time to fix the real problem. And there are a lot of people out there who've gone through what you've gone through. There are a lot of people out there that would love to help you through what you're going through. But the first step is just acknowledging that you need help, acknowledging that you need to make a change, and then being ready to put action behind that. So, pile 2, that's everything that I have for you. I truly wish you the best. Wherever you take this, I truly wish you the best, and that you can overcome everything that it is that you're going through. And just know that you were brought this message for a reason. You were brought this message because you have guides and a highest self that love you and want you to be taken care of. And even if you feel alone, there is some force in the universe that brought you this message because it cares. There is somebody that cares to help you and wants to see you get better. So that is everything that I have for you. I really hope that this message finds you when you need the most. I hope that this brought you clarity on whatever you're going through. But that's everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Alright, pile 3, last but certainly not least. If you chose the space card, then this is going to be the reading for you. Now, I really do encourage you to listen to the beginning message where I basically said, I'm not here to diagnose anything. That was at the beginning of the video. I'm not going to go over that again, just in case you did listen to it, but I do highly encourage you to go back if you skipped through it. That being said, of course I'm not going to diagnose anything, but let's go ahead and get into it. So the way that we're doing this is we're looking at what do you need to hear about your mental health and well-being, your body's health and well-being, and your spirit's health and well-being. So starting off with the mind, I feel like, obviously I'm just going to start by saying I don't see anything bad in the reading. If anything, I just see your brain wants to stretch its metaphorical legs. and your body wants you to get a little bit more in tune with it. But that's it. Like, there's nothing crazy. So if you are feeling anxious about like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to come up, I don't see anything crazy here. That being said, getting into it, your mental health. I think your brain just wants more exploration. I think your brain loves like puzzles, or like, for example, something that just came to mind was like, I really love learning about new topics. I love to constantly be listening to like podcasts. I like to listen to or watch YouTube videos about like topics I'm interested in, and reading books, because it's like, it all feels like it's expanding my brain. It's working my brain, kind of like puzzle games and stuff like that. I feel like that's something that your brain is kind of yearning for. I feel like your brain loves like mental expansion and growth. It loves learning about new things. It loves feeling like smarter, feeling challenged, or like having new ideas come in so it can turn it over and like fully examine whatever it is that you're learning about. And with the Ace of Cups reversed, I feel like it hasn't really had that in a while. It's feeling a little empty. Like, if you look at this card, it literally looks like a cup that's being dumped upside down. Like, your brain just craves learning new things, and I feel like it hasn't been challenged in a while. This doesn't have to be something like doing math or like learning a new subject, though it certainly could be. Like, maybe you've really been wanting to learn a new thing or pick up a new hobby, but it could be something as simple as like playing Sudoku, or I don't know, watching YouTube videos about a topic that you're interested in. Your brain just loves learning about new things. So in whatever way that kind of like reaches out to you, in whatever way that you seem interested in, maybe that just made you think about like, oh, you know what? I did hear about like that course on that topic that I was kind of interested in. Maybe I'll sign up for that and learn a little bit more about that. Or maybe you just, you have a fondness for bugs and you're really curious about them, so you want to learn more about them and watch a documentary about it, you know? Whatever way that feels right to you, because like I always say, this is a general reading. It's meant for a lot of different people, so take what resonates to you. If something popped up in your mind and you're like, oh yeah, you know what? I do want to learn about that thing, or I did enjoy that hobby. That hobby really challenged me. I want to do that more. That's what your mind is kind of craving right now. I feel like it's craving growth and new experiences, especially intellectual experiences. And I feel like it hasn't gotten that in a while. Maybe you're a little stuck in routine, or maybe the job that you're at, or maybe you're not in school right now because it's summer or whatever. None of that's really challenging you, so your mind is looking for new ways to expand and grow. Next, for the health and wellness of your body, we have the Mystery card and the Eight of Swords reversed. Now, here I would kind of encourage you to maybe go to the doctor, get a checkup. I don't see anything super bad here, but the Mystery card leads me to believe that you're not very in tune with how your body is doing. Like me, for example, I didn't realize that I was anemic. Like, I always just kind of felt off sometimes. Like, I just felt kind of like nauseous or gross. Turns out, like, I was low on iron, but I didn't realize that till I went to the doctor. I feel like for you, with the Mystery card and the Eight of Swords reversed, there could be like some kind of like underlying like weird feeling that you just haven't taken some time to really be like, what is it exactly that I'm feeling? Like, maybe you just kind of feel weird for a week, and it's like you just push past it because you're like, whatever, I can still go about life, but you didn't take the time to like sit and be like, okay, what are these symptoms? What am I going through? Like I said before, I don't want to freak you out and diagnose. I don't even want to freak you out by telling you to go see a doctor. But if you have been feeling kind of weird, it might be a good idea to just check in with your body, ask yourself how you're feeling, because a lot of the times we get so busy in our day-to-day life that like we'll have a headache and we'll kind of just brush it off and like not really care about it or not tend to it because it's like, whatever, bodies will be bodies. And again, I'm not going to freak you out by saying that there's anything wrong with your body. I'm not saying that you have like anemia or something like me. It could just be that your body wants to be better tended to. So, for example, maybe you've been feeling like muscle weakness and you didn't even really notice it. Like your body felt kind of weird or like weak, but you just kind of brush it off, like I said, because you're so distracted with life. But really what your body is asking you for is to like check in and be like, hey, let's go work out, let's build up some muscle. Or maybe like you're having stomach issues and all it needs is like some probiotics. drink some Yakult if you've ever heard of that, or some yogurt. But like I said, I'm not here to diagnose, and this is a general reading, so it might be meant for some people, but, not others. The best thing that you could do really is just check in with your own body. Ask yourself, what do I feel like my body has been craving? Maybe it could be as simple as like, if your body has really been craving steak, maybe it's because your body has been craving red meat because of, there's a lot of iron in red meat. Or maybe your body has been really craving spinach. There's a lot of iron in spinach. Those are specific examples because I'm anemic and like I have a lot of those things in my diet. But for you, I just encourage you to check in with your body, figure out what it's craving, what it's asking for, what it feels like it needs. And if you really are worried, of course, I encourage you to maybe go to the doctor, get some blood work done, and then they can tell you what you're deficient in, or they could give you a physical exam and then tell you like, oh yeah, this is kind of off, take care of that. But I don't see anything crazy here. There's no tower card or death card, so like, don't freak out. Just check in with your body a little bit, because the mystery card tells me you're not very in tune with your body's physical health right now, and that might be something that you just need to connect back to, not because like you're about to die, but because like, it's good to stay in tune with our bodies and like work in tandem with them, because sometimes we can get very distracted and forget to pay attention to certain needs that we do have. So that's what I wanted to say about body. Not here to diagnose, not here to freak you out. Just check in, ask your body what it needs, and yeah. So finally, your spirit's health and well-being. This one I feel like is the most positive out of all of them. I don't really see anything wrong with your spirit right now. If anything, it seems like spiritually you're very content. I feel like you're very happy in your beliefs right now. You're feeling very in flow with your purpose. And with the Seven of Pentacles, this just leads me to believe like there's a lot of contentment, there's a lot of growth to be had. So spiritually, your spirit is doing fine. And that is a great indicator to me that you are keeping up with like your mental and physical health. If you were drawn to pile 2 and this doesn't feel right for you, it might be that you want to check in with pile 2, because pile 2 is a perfect example of like how your spirit is greatly affected by not keeping up with like your mental well-being, and how that starts to affect your physical well-being. But for you, I feel like you do a pretty good job of keeping all that in check. Maybe you're somebody that's really into like introspection and shadow work, so you're constantly bettering yourself, constantly working on yourself. You know what your purpose is. You feel very in alignment with things spiritually. The biggest things that I see here are your brain wants like more intellectual stimulation, and your body wants you to be a little bit more more in tune with it. But yeah, that's everything that I see for you. In general, you're doing really good. Just, pay attention to your body. Our bodies talk to us. Our bodies will tell us when it wants certain things. We'll start to crave certain foods or want to do certain exercises or whatever. And it's our body's way of saying like, hey, I'm deficient in this right now, or hey, I really want you to work out in this way. So listen to it. Listen to your body, and it's like a little car. It wants to be taken to the shop once in a while and get checked up, get its fluids filled up. And same thing with our mind. It loves to be stimulated, and if you've been feeling really bored, just find new ways to pick up intellectual stimulation, and yeah, that's everything that I see for you. So nothing crazy. I hope that didn't freak you out, the part about like the body with the doctor checkup. There's nothing to be worried about, but of course, I'm not going to recommend that you don't go to the doctor ever. I think everybody should have at least yearly visits for a general checkup. But yeah, that's everything that I have for you, Pile 3. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.